Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to their post at Flick On. Right, so there's been a lot of talk over the past 24 hours. If you saw the game yesterday between Real Madrid and Benfica, of course, Benfica beating Real Madrid, in the group stages 4-2 with that with the winning goal from the goalkeeper to get them into this knockout phase against Real Madrid. But there's a lot of controversy. Of course, we've all seen the videos and the clips going around. And if you watched the game yesterday as well, you would have saw what transpired. First and foremost, Vinicius Jr. scored a worldie of a goal, top corner. Keeper had absolutely zero chance. So Madrid actually won that game 1-0 away from home, with the second leg being at the Bernabeu. But, a lot of talks is not really about the actual game itself, more so what transpired between Vinicius Jr. and Benfica's, and to quote Mbappe, Benfica's number 25, Gianluca Prestiani. So basically what happened was he's basically, allegedly racially abused Vinny. Nobody can dispute it, to be honest with you. If you're lifting up your shirt and you're putting it against your mouth, of course you have ill intentions. You've got ill intentions. Otherwise, if it was just a jab or whatever the case may be, you won't need to cover your mouth. You won't need to put your hand over your mouth. You won't need to put your whole shirt. You won't need to tuck your mouth into your shirt. But you did that intentionally because you know exactly what you were going to do, what you were going to say. So there was malice behind it. So I don't want to hear any talk about, we don't know what he said. Well, I pretty much stand with Vinny, and I think, he always gets a very, very harsh treatment, unfortunately. And, this is 2026, and we don't need to be seeing things like that in a game. It's supposed to be the beautiful game, but there are elements of the game that just keep setting it back. Every time, they want to kind of progress the game and move forward, there were just elements, individuals that keep bringing the game into disrepute. And I think last night was a case in point. A case in point. You could argue and say, well, the player's only 20 years old. He's learned. I don't want to hear any of that crap. That's bullshit. At the end of the day, that's bullshit. He knows what he was doing. You know exactly what you were doing, number 25, and there is no room for it. There's no room for racism in the game, and it's got to be eradicated. The Benfica fans didn't really give a good account of themselves, throwing and hurling bottles and whatnot at Trent and Vinicius Jr. and booing him and all sorts. He was racially abused. He reported it to the referee, and the referee took whatever action he could at the time. And the referee as well it's a bit silly for the ref to have issued Vinicius Jr. A yellow card for celebrating. It's a game of football. It doesn't matter whether you're playing football in the park, whether you're playing it, in a grassroots level. If you score a goal as the offensive team and you score, you are entitled to celebrate. It wasn't like he was showing the Benfica fans the middle finger. He simply ran to the nearest corner flag and sambered. He did a little 1-2 step. There's nothing wrong with that. You are entitled to celebrate however you choose. There was no disrespect in the way he celebrated. It's not like he's ran the length of the pitch to go and celebrate in front of them. That corner flag was the nearest corner flag to him after he scored. And then his teammates came over and celebrated alongside him. So there was absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that yellow card should be rescinded because he did nothing wrong. And for the referee, if anything, you could even argue and say the referee's a catalyst in that case. Because why are you giving a player a yellow card for celebrating? You're entitled to celebrate. Where in the rule book in football does it say if you score a goal, especially a goal like that, you're not allowed to celebrate? You can celebrate however way you wish. He wasn't disrespecting anybody. He was just celebrating. It was all in the moment. And then for the referee to then give him a yellow card and say, you could argue and say, he was antagonising the supporters. No, it wasn't. Have you not seen Adebayor? Manchester City, Arsenal. Yeah, that's antagonising. If you run the whole length of the pitch to go and do that, yeah, you got a case there. But what Vinny did yesterday was absolutely, absolutely normal. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it. And you have to remember as well that they were the away side. So, of course, the stadium's going to be dominated with Benfica fans. That's just common sense. And we all saw it. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the celebration. And Prestiani, his attitude stinks. You know, his attitude stinks, and they should throw the book at him. Whether it's 10-game suspension, 3-game, 4-game, some type of action needs to be said. And then he's got the nerve to deny it and say, "Oh, I didn't say anything." If you didn't say anything, well, you clearly said something. Because for Vinny to run to the referee the way he did and then single you out and said, "Nah, this guy's racially abused me," says a lot. And if the player is saying that he didn't say anything or he didn't abuse Vinny, okay, then what did you say under your shirt? We'd all like to hear it. What did you say? What did you say under your shirt? But for me, I just don't think that helps football in any shape, way, or fashion. You know, you're supposed to be professional footballers and you're supposed to, you know, lead by example. And that's not leading by example. At the end of the day, you're supposed to let your feet do the talking. If you can't let your feet do the talking, go and sit on the bench. You know, go and sit on the bench, tear up your contract and find another career. You know, but I think, you know, Vinny does get singled out. It's almost as if they pick on him to try and throw him off his game, you know. But again, as I say, going back to referee, for the referee to show a yellow card for that celebration is utter madness. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. You might as well give Roger Miller a yellow card for his celebrations and the way he used to dance. You know, it's just stupid. You know, players are entitled to dance. You know, it's all part of, you know, it's all part of the brand, isn't it? It's all part of the brand. And each player has their own celebrations. They're entitled to do that. You shouldn't be booking players because what you're doing is you're heading in a direction that, you know, you're over governing the sport, if you like. And it's just ridiculous. But going back to number 25, yeah, action needs to be taken against that player because there is no room for racism. And, you know, football's come a long way and, you know, there's still work to be done. But UEFA and the governing bodies, they need to take serious action against that player. I'm not buying it. I don't accept that he's saying, you know, "Oh, I didn't say anything." If you didn't say anything, okay, what did you say? Why did you need to say things under your shirt then? Tell us what you said. You know, players are out there saying, you know, they heard you say X, Y, Z, you know. What did you say? Come and tell us. We're all ears. We all want to know. You know, we all want to know. And Mourinho also mentioned, and, you know, I think Mourinho, just to paraphrase, said something about Eusebio. What the hell has Eusebio got to do with it? It's got absolutely nothing to do with Eusebio. Vinny didn't say, you know, the whole of Benfica are racist and things like that, or the football club's racist. He's basically just singled out one player that abused him. That's what we're focusing on. I don't think we should be focusing on externals. Eusebio has nothing to do with it. So Mourinho saying, "Oh, you know, Benfica can't be racist because Eusebio was a black player," and, "Oh, yeah, you know, there's no way." What's that got to do with anything? It's got absolutely nothing to. It's got nothing to do with nothing. You know, let's concentrate on what the player said and the abuse he dished out. That's what the focus is on. That's what it's on. You know, criticize that player for the abuse he gave to Vinny, and, you know, we wait and see what UEFA does if in fact they do anything. But you know, it would be good if they can set an example because that type of behavior is not warranted and it's not tolerated in football. But anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think that I'm not sure when the second leg is, but yeah, Madrid will probably dust them anyway. So yeah, anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.